So now I'm going to show you how to do a BxShadow setup in BioExplorer. So this is the kind of setup that you'd use if you want to watch a movie. It's really good for that. You could also be listening to music in the background. Essentially, BxShadow is a piece of software that will take control of your computer's screen and volume, and it'll modulate it so that when your brain is in range, the picture is full brightness and the volume is full loudness. And when your brain is out of range, the shadow will dim the screen and will make your volume go down. So essentially withholding that sensory input. So we want to start by launching BioExplorer. And we want to make sure that the right design is open. So let's go to Design, Open, and choose the design for one channel BxShadow. So for the BxShadow design or setup, you can only do this training one channel at a time. Alright, so when we open up the design, you'll see there are the same three windows that we usually see, the instruments 1, 2, and signal diagram. So here it's the same as it has been. Instruments 2 we don't really care about. Instruments 1 has all of the objects for viewing the live data, and the signal diagram has all of the logic for the design to make it work. So again, same as a lot of the other designs, we only care about these three boxes. So these are the low inhibit, the reward, and the high inhibit, and these are going to tell the software which frequencies to measure and thus change. So we want to make sure that these three boxes match the values given to you in your chart or by Dr. Hill or one of us. If you need to change these at all, you can double click the box and just type in the values. So say we want to maybe change this to 15 to 18. So just type in 15, hit the tab button, 18, and hit OK. Whatever it is, just make sure it matches what's given to you. Alright, so the other thing that we want to change, we want to make sure that our timer is set to the right time. So you'll notice something right here. At the top black bar that gives us information about the session, you'll see that it currently is in playback mode. So BioExplorer gives you the option to replay previous sessions data. Kind of looks like this. If you press play, this is old data. This is not data that is currently being recorded. It gives you that option so that you can review things. If you had a question about something, you can locate that file it's saved locally. You could look at it, or you can send it to us for review. What's really important to note, though, is if you're trying to train, if you're trying to do a new session, if you're in playback mode when you set yourself up and you press play, it'll look like you're training, but in reality it's just playing old data. So you always want to make sure that you are in capture mode. So in order to change it to capture mode, you go to session and you just click capture. Now you'll see captures in green, and that denotes that you're ready to record new data and record a new session. Alright, so we also want to make sure our timer is set to the right time. Currently it's set to 30 minutes. If we want to change that, we can by going to the Session tab down at the bottom of the timer, and we can change it to whatever time we need to change it to. Again, this value will always be given to you. Maybe you want to train for 25 minutes. Who knows? Alright, so design is set, frequencies in the signal diagram are set, the timer is set. Last thing we need to set is the amplifier. Make sure it's connected and in the correct mode. So currently it says it is in fact connected on COM 4. And to just double check what mode it's in, we want to drag the BioExplorer screen down. And somewhere in the background you'll see, let's see, where did it go? Okay, yeah, here in the background you'll see the amplifier command window. Again, this will always be open as long as BioExplorer is open. You can't close it, we want to make sure that our amplifier is in the correct mode. So for any time you're training neurofeedback, unless you're doing HEG, you should always be in EEG mode, or unless you're doing 4-channel, in which case we'll give you explicit instructions to change the mode. You should always assume, unless you're doing HEG training, that you're in EEG mode. All right. So that pretty much takes care of BioExplorer setup. So everything else on the design, instruments 1 and signal diagram should already be preset and pre-configured for you. You don't need to worry about it. It may look a little bit different from other designs, but everything is set and should be working if we've given it to you. So if you have a question about any of the other settings, you can go ahead and reach out to us. But from here, now we need to open up 2 more things. So with BxShadow, we need to be watching something or listening to something that's going to have its picture and volume modulated. So a lot of people will just watch a movie. It's a really good way to train, especially for kids. So you can go ahead and open up any MP4. You can open up a YouTube video. You can open up Netflix. If you have a DVD player, you can play a DVD on your laptop. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter, because the screen is going to take control of whatever is playing in the background. So here, maybe I want to be watching a movie, so I have Bolt here on Netflix. So we have our movie ready now, and then the last thing we want to do is launch the shadow. So to launch BxShadow, it's this little gray ball icon labeled BxShadow. Go ahead and launch that. All right. So when you launch it, it opens up this little window. This is the shadow command window. So we want to go ahead and enable shadow. So this makes this little window, shadow window, pop up. You can just grab it, drag it around wherever you need. If you double click it, it'll cover the whole screen. And then in the top right of the window, you want to click this button that's labeled Fix. This will enable you to click through the shadow to whatever's behind it. So right now, if you click anywhere, it's going to move the shadow, but you want to go ahead and fix the shadow with that button. All right, so now we have the shadow fixed. We can click on the window behind it. So we want to do a couple settings, change a few settings here in order to kind of optimize the range for the shadow and the volume. So by default, it's going to make it so that when you're training and your brain is in range, you have full brightness and full volume. And when you're out of range, it'll be completely pitch black and 0 volume. So in order to make it a little bit more pleasant, so you can kind of actually enjoy whatever you're watching or listening to without it being so stark of a contrast, but enough that you get that differentiation, you can go ahead and click Automatic here, and then manually input the range to be 0.3 to 0.8 for both the shadow and the volume. Just go ahead and type those in. These won't save if you close BxShadow, so you're going to have to input those every single time. So now those are set, and now you're ready to watch your movie. So go ahead and I'll play some test data for you so you can see what that looks like. Alrighty, so we have our data coming in. Once we press play, and you'll see that the shadow will come in and out and the volume will come in and out based on what the brain waves are doing. All right, so if we play our movie, then you'll see that the volume gets loud and quiet also with the shadow.